Welcome back to Stupidiots. Why is my voice so loud there at the beginning? I didn't even move. Okay, that was weird. Welcome back to Stupidiots. um, I'm Jesse. This is Whitney.
Hey guys.
And last week I squeaked out a win on the vacation countries episode. And my topic for this week was our favorite actresses. This time we may finally tie, because we have both made the prediction that this is going to be a tie of 0-0. Like, this is so many different options to pick from, with not much to go on for what we think the other person would pick. So we're guessing we're both going to get 0-0. I have two on my guess list for her that I like at least know they're like I picked with her in mind because I know she likes movie they're in. But that's about it. I have no clue whether the actress has anything to do with it or not. And this is just actresses or female actors, whichever terminology people prefer. Because we can do male actors in another video or another episode. Um,
I'm sorry, that just reminded me of your thanks for watching when you
yeah.
said it.
Though I do have to ask because I'm remembering this time. Because I presume if you win, your pick for the subject next week is going to be the same pick you've been going with, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we could announce it beforehand this time.
Kind of forgot what I've been picking, but yes,
You were
that
doing like I
one.
think it was Norse gods,
Oh yeah,
or it might
yeah,
have been mythical gods. I don't know if it was Norse specifically. That had
yeah.
to do
It
with
was
gods.
Greek. It was Greek. That's right.
Was it Greek? I don't know. I thought it was
It
Norse,
was
but
Greek.
so that's her pick. I know I thought of mine
Norse
earlier.
gods. Norse gods will be another episode,
I th-
but specifically Greek.
that's a good idea. We could do Greek, Norse, and Roman all in different, and Egyptian all in their own different episodes. My pick, I thought of this earlier, um, is holidays. Our favorite holidays. There's, and that's one where we'll definitely have to like pad out the bottom section, but um, it's something that'd be fun to talk about. I think, because I have some holidays I plan for way too early. Um, but we'll get to that if I manage to win, which I'm hoping we get a tie, so that way we can finally share what our idea was that we had a couple months ago for what happens when we get a tie.
I
But
know we say that every single time, though.
yeah, but
I do find that funny.
this
We're like,
time I'll be shocked if one of us scores a point. That's why I think we're gonna tie, because I don't think either of us is going to score. Like
once
this,
I feel I'm gonna at least score, if not have your first one right. Now
really.
I'm like 80% sure I got your first one right, but if I didn't, I at least know they're on your board. I know hands down that they're on your board.
I'm now I'm curious who this is. Is there a? I'm trying to think of who that. If my number
If
one
they're
is someone that I've
if they're not on your board, if they're not on your board, I'm questioning all your life choices.
they're
Just saying.
questioning my life choices.
Yep.
So can I ask? Is it based off of like have I talked about the actress, or is it based off of like movies that you know I like?
All of the above.
Really, I'm really curious who you're thinking it is, and if it's right or not. Hmm. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see when we get there. Because if it's there's one person that's on my list that I think you could be talking about, and I'm kind of wondering if I should have put it on my guesses for yours, but I guess we'll find out when we get there. All right, call. Go ahead and call the coin toss.
Um, let's go with tails. I think I did have this last time.
Tails. All right, Alexa, flip a coin. Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay. Heads.
All right. Well, since I have like no logic going into, I feel like it makes sense for me to guess yours first, so that we can find out if your number one guess for me is right or not, as at the end of the episode.
Ooh,
Since that
yeah.
seems to be the most hyped portion, is if you got my number one right, because that would also be your. No, it wouldn't be. It would be your second perfect guess. You got your first one last week, didn't you?
I don't
You
think it
guess.
was last week. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
I thought Japan. Your guess for my number one was.
Oh yes, no, you're right. It was last week because we both had the same exact number.
Number one, yeah. Which is only the second time that's happened. I know it happened with cartoons. I'm trying to think if it happened any other time. I can't remember, but
Not only was it like it was only the second time we've gotten each other's number ones, but it was actually the first time that we've correctly guessed each other's number ones.
Yeah.
We didn't just happen to have the same
what are the
answer.
odds that ever again do we both guess each other's number ones perfectly and have them be the same thing? That's what I'm wondering.
Listen,
But
I'm gonna make that Japan trip happen.
yeah,
One way or another.
it is the
gotta
number
have it
one
back.
thing on my bucket list to go there, so I am definitely going there someday. But
Listen, when you get that phone call next year, you're gonna be like, Jesse, you got yours and Shelby's passports ready? Like, we're going.
we'll have to get passports. I don't have a passport, but we'll do it at some point. But let's go ahead and hop into the list. My number, actually, there's a couple. I just realized there's another one that I think on my list that could be what you have for my number one, but I don't know. My number 10 guess for you is Helena Bonham Carter.
I have absolutely no fucking idea who that is.
That's okay. I was like, gonna be like, did I get like a perfect guess? Helena Bonham Carter is the, essentially the woman that's always starring with Johnny Depp in Tim Burton movies, and plays Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter.
I forgot all about her.
I just knew you liked Harry Potter and at least a good couple Tim Burton, at least one Tim Burton movie.
Oh, I love all Tim Burton
But
movies.
yeah, I thought at least a couple. But
I think one of my favorite movies so far from Tim Burton that has her in it.
Sleepy
was...
Hollow.
No, not
Oh.
Sleepy Hollow. Well, that was also a good movie. I'm forgetting the name of it. But
Sweeney
basically,
Todd?
Sweeney Todd, yeah. She was the pie shop owner.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was one of those two movies I had a feeling.
It was Sweeney Todd. Yeah. No, unfortunately not. I did not. I completely forgot all about her. No, my number 10 is Dakota Fanning. Oh my god. Also, I want to go ahead and apologize if I mispronounce any of these people's names. Just because I don't usually say their last names a lot, so I might mispronounce some of them. But Dakota Fanning, I have always loved her. I've seen all her movies from like when she was like a really young child. I think my favorite movie with her thus far, what was the name of it? I forget the name of it, but she was basically this little girl whose father abused her, and she ran away to go find out, where her mom came from, and she went to Queen Latifah. She starred in it, and she went to her house, and they were honeybee keepers. It was a really, really good movie. I'll figure out the name of it. Jesse will put all the movies in the description that we mentioned.
I not promising that part. Because I'm gonna mention all.
I'll make sure he at least puts that movie in there.
Which movie was it?
I forget the name of it. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's with Dakota Fanning, Queen Latifah, and then a few other people. It's set during the
If you
time...
message me, then I'll or send it to me if you figure it out and tell me, I'll make a note to put it in the description.
It's set during the times where slavery was still kind of slightly a thing. It was definitely getting out of that time period, but it was like at the very end of it. It was a really good movie. But Dakota Fanning is a very good actress.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I guess we'll move on to your number 10.
Okay.
I felt like you would be an Emma Stone type of person.
That is very interesting. But that is not the answer I have. My number 10 is Elizabeth Olsen.
Ooh.
Not only would she be probably one of my, if you asked me to list like celebrity crushes, she would definitely be one of them. But that's not the only reason. Obviously, I really like her in the MCU as Scarlet Witch, but she's also in the 2014 American Godzilla movie, which I liked.
Wait, she was?
Yeah, I always forgot she was until I went back because she wasn't famous yet. So that's why, because she didn't start join the MCU until the following year. But yeah, she's the wife of that one guy.
Oh, right. Wasn't she a nurse in that movie?
Yeah. And she was also in a movie that's not very popular, but with actually with Jeremy Renner, the guy that plays Hawkeye, a movie called Wind River. Phenomenal movie. It was from 2017. That is an amazing movie that I highly recommend people watch. It is kind of dark in its like subject matter, but it is very good. I absolutely loved that movie. That was probably my favorite, or at least one of my favorite movies from that year. I actually just remembered one that's higher, but
And which one? What is it called?
Wind River. It's like, and I forget, is it in Alaska or is it Canada? It's a very snowy area, she's a detective. Her and Jeremy Renner are working to like solve the case of what happened to this girl that like went missing, and they found it was that she had went missing or that she had died. It's been years since I watched it. I probably watched it like early 2018 was the last time I watched it. But I remember I was just like, damn, that was really fucking good.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah, it's really good, especially if you're into that sort of like crime, mystery, drama type stuff. It was a very refreshing movie in that genre. But yeah, so she's been in a few different movies that I really like. So my number 10 is Elizabeth Olsen. All right. Also, I don't know if I know I told you this before we started recording. I forgot if I mentioned it when you were recording. Outside of those two that I said, I think I picked off of what the movies I know she likes, which I already know one of them was incorrect. All the other ones that I listed were just popular actresses. Just like ones that like it makes sense to have on the list. They're very famous. So my number 9 guess for you was Sandra Bullock.
Ooh, incorrect. Actually, this was kind of funny because my number 9 was Elizabeth Olsen.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, you already basically said everything. I haven't seen too many of her movies outside of the Marvel universe, but there have been some like Godzilla, which I didn't realize. I mean, I knew she was in it, but I kind of just...
Yeah, you don't, because she wasn't, at the time that movie came out, nobody knew who she was yet. So
which is kind of like a weird thing.
So not until I rewatched it like a couple years ago, and I was like, shit, that's Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, she's in this movie, but I didn't like keep it in my mind since I didn't know who she was at the time.
I find that so weird though, because a lot of people are like that, but you would think that she's like kind of somewhat already famous at that point because of her two sisters.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I didn't know she was Mary-Kate and Ashley's sister until like 2017. So I had no idea that was her. Like, I knew her name, but I was just like, I didn't, Olsen isn't exactly like the most uncommon name. So I didn't like actually
That's
piece
my
that
first thing
together
as well.
until I looked her up on Wikipedia, and she went from being how she literally went from being like the essentially what the freaking what's his name, the fourth Jonas brother, like Frankie or whatever his name is, to to the Olsen twins, to being more famous than the Olsen twins
Yeah.
in the long
I
run.
don't know. I feel like everybody should know who she is, at least just based off her looks
And
and her last
now
name.
they may very well know, but in 2014 I had no idea. I think she's
I
very
don't
famous
know.
now. I had no idea who
I'm
she
just
was
the
then.
type of person who gets her and like Mary Kate and Ashley like mixed up. Um, when like she's with one of the twins, not when she's with both, just when she's like pictured with one of the twins. I don't know why, but my brain automatically goes, "Oh, it's Mary Kate and Ashley." And I'm like, "No, that's actually Elizabeth." She looks
I
so much
always
like her
like
sister.
because I don't know, Mary Kate and I'm sure they're doing something, but they're so like out of the public eye for the most part, at least by comparison, that I only ever like specifically think of her as their sister whenever like I'm talking about who she is as opposed to what she like a movie she's done or a character she plays.
Right.
If that makes any
Uh,
sense.
well, I think it's mainly because like they are so removed out of like limelight now because they completely obviously stopped acting. They're models
Yeah.
now.
I say I'm sure
Um,
they're doing something. I just don't think it's acting, or at least not in anything major.
right. So from that point, I can see it. I don't know. I guess it's just because I'm like, she looks just like them. Like I don't understand, like how you couldn't see that resemblance there.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
I
I
just
get
didn't
it. I
think
get
about
it.
it. I guess would be for me. Like when I heard that, I was like, she is. Yeah, you know that does make sense. Like I didn't know until like somebody mentioned until I read it, and then I was like, then it kind of clicked, I guess.
That's funny though. Yeah, she's a really good actress. I absolutely love her movies. Um, but having sadly to move on from Miss Elizabeth, we are going down to your number 9. If I can find the list. Everything's just like in one neat row for me, so it gets lost. Your number 9, Kate Beckinsale.
She was honestly a strong contender, but that is incorrect. But I will say, you are earning points on this one. My number 9 was Emma Stone. So it is 0-2. You're starting off with the lead this time.
I knew you were an Emma Stone type of person. Hold up, hold up. What movies did she play in? I was like, yeah, I can see Jesse being an Emma Stone.
So I've seen her in a lot of stuff. And my first exposure was Amazing Spider-Man. It's the first one that I remember her specifically from. But she was also in that. Was it Easy A? Was that the movie she was in where she was
Yeah,
like pretending to sleep with people?
yeah, Easy
Yeah,
A.
Easy A. I saw her in what was that? The Favorite, I think is what it was called. Um, that was another movie I saw her in. Um, uh, what else have I seen her
Please,
in?
for the love of God.
Oh, Cruella. Cruella. I've
Yeah.
seen her in
How much
Cruella.
have you seen Cruella? Like,
She was in The Help. Yeah,
not
I
Cruella.
saw Cruella in the theaters.
I
Um,
would say, like, from all of her movies, I think Cruella was like, if you ordered all her movies, Cruella is so far removed from everything. Like, that's her number 1. That is
I
where it
thought she
puts
was. I honestly like when I initially saw she was cast. I initially wasn't super excited. Like I'm always she's on this list. Like obviously I'm glad to see her act in anything, but I was like, her playing Cruella, and then I saw the trailer and I was like, never mind, never mind, never mind.
Never mind. I was
Yeah.
the same way when I first heard it, and then that trailer, I said, "Oh my god!" Like, she's right there on par with like the original live action Cruella.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
I thought
that's
she
a
did a
good
very good
actress.
job.
she did a good job of making it her own and not like ripping off the original
Yeah,
film.
not just being literally the same person just 40 years earlier, being like the same person but not as evil yet. I guess like
Dude,
she did a good job of showing like she's a character that hadn't like evolved to be evil yet, but was still the same person. If that makes any
can
sense.
we can we just talk about that one scene though in Cruella? Like not getting like very specific, but like when she first goes into the party or whatever to meet the designer lady as Cruella.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god. That scene was amazing.
yeah.
I would put that scene on like repeat and just like watch that one scene. That was such a good scene. They did so well with that.
Also, I'm gonna throw out this is going rewinding the episode a little bit because I didn't want to interrupt the flow earlier. How we kind of went on a tangent for Elizabeth Olsen. This is 2 episodes in a row we've went on tangents about people named Elizabeth.
That's funny.
But I guess on to my guess for your number 8. I guess for your number eight, I had Keira Knightley.
Incorrect. Incorrect. So this is one I didn't think you were gonna get. Um, because it's so out there. My number 8 is actually Sterling Holloway. And for those of you who don't know, she is actually the voice actress for Duchess from the Aristocats. She does such an amazing voice for like anything that she's in. But she's also been in like older stuff. I want to say Beverly Hillbillies she used to play in. I could be wrong on that. But like older shows like
Wait,
that.
you mean? Sorry, I just went to Google up who Sterling Holloway was. Sterling Holloway played Rockford. Eva Gaber played Duchess.
Did they put no?
Unless make Google could be wrong, I guess. But when I googled up Sterling Holloway, it shows me a dude who played the snake in Winnie. He played Winnie the Pooh, and what Cheshire Cat.
Did it mess up? No, I think it did mess up. Okay. I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
I don't mean to, I don't mean to be like I had no idea who that was, but if I didn't see like a bunch of other movies he's also credited in, I would have just thought it was a
Oh my
Google
god,
mistake.
stop playing everything. Okay. No, I do stand corrected. It showed me two different, well, like one different name. It is still the same actress though. Regardless.
Yeah,
I got her name wrong. Hold on 1 second. I'll get you the correct name.
is it Eva Gaber? Gabber?
Yes.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Oh my god. I hate Bing. If anybody has Bing installed, it's a very fucking stupid program. Just saying.
Wait, Bing is a program?
Yes, Bing the search engine.
Is is that available as like a program and not just a website?
No, I call it a program. It's a fucking search engine.
Oh, I was so fucking confused. I was like, what do you mean have Bing installed? I'm so confused.
Yeah, you have to have it installed as a extension.
Well, it's also a website, I think. I don't know. I don't use Bing. I just use Google, so I don't know.
Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah, Eva Gabler. I don't know why the fuck it put. I don't know why it put Sterling Holloway. That was fucking weird. It was probably because they did play in the same thing.
No, she's in The Rescuers.
Yeah, she also played in The Rescue. She did a lot of cartoon acting. But yes, Eva. Sorry, I do apologize. So we're making an amend there. Eva Gaber. She played in so many things, but I believe she also played in like Beverly Hillbillies and other stuff like that. And the only reason like she is on this list is because of Aristocats. It was always my favorite movie, but my dad's currently been watching Beverly Hillbillies, and like every time I hear her talk in the show, even though I've never seen the show, I'll be like in another room and I'll just hear her talk, and I'm like, hold up, is that Duchess? Like, her voice is just so iconic that you can immediately place what film that she's from. And it's not like a lot of things that you can like do that with. There's one other person, I forget her first name, but her last name's like Summer or something like that. She played Kita from the movie Atlantis. And
Atlantis, the Lost Empire, like the Disney
yes,
one. Okay, I
yes.
presumed, but I wanted to be sure.
She currently plays Meep or Eep, whatever her name is, from the Croods. When they started making like little mini cartoon series, she actually plays Eep. Um, and I didn't realize that's who that was until after I had looked it up. Because her voice just wasn't recognizable, but Eva gave her voice is just so iconic and recognizable. It doesn't matter what you're watching. You're like, yep, she was in that movie.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
so yes.
If you
So that
get,
was my weird off one that I didn't think you were gonna get, and
I will.
thank you for correcting me.
No, I was just. I only reason I even Googled it was because I had no idea who that was. I was gonna try to see if there's anything else I recognized them in. Then when it showed me a dude, I got really confused. So I had to like look up the
Like,
Aristocats and figure out what was going on. But I will say if you get my number 8 correct, I'll be very shocked because I don't think you'll know who. It's I think another one where I think you'll know who it is. Like at least be able to think of it when I explain it. But or perhaps if you've seen a couple movies that she's in, but
interesting, interesting.
watch this be the one you had for my number 1, and you're like, it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it's blatantly obvious. Um, no. Your number 8. I put Uma Thurman.
All right, that is not it. My number 8 is an actress by the name of Lulu Wilson.
Never heard.
She became famous as a child actress. She was in the second Ouija movie, Ouija Origin of Evil, the prequel movie. She was the possessed daughter, the girl that like freaking opens her mouth 2 feet wide. Um, and then she was in Annabelle Creation for the Conjuring universe. I love horror movies. I'm gonna throw that out there for people. That's why these are the ones specifically I go to. And she's in this other movie that just came out, but she's like 16 now. Oh yeah, she's in The Wrath of Becky. Yeah, she was also in and I really want to see it. She's like 16 now, so I'm hoping she stays acting like into her adult and
Wait,
her adult
hold
career.
on, sorry.
But
I'm gonna interrupt for half a second here.
okay,
Is The Wrath of Becky the second one to Becky?
I think so.
The other one came out.
Yeah, in 2020. I never saw that one either. So I've been really bad about watching movies the past few years. You know, since COVID,
Right.
when theaters shut down. So I've really seen a ton. But
You know, we need to meet up and go watch some horror movies together.
yeah, horror's one of my favorite genres, and she like my brother is still scared of her. Like just whenever like we go to watch Annabelle Creation, even though she's not the villain in that movie, he was so creeped out by how well she did in Ouija Origin of Evil that like he still thinks she's creepier than the actual girl that gets possessed in the movie, and she's not even doing anything. But
I absolutely loved Annabelle Annabelle Creations. It was such a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one too. Yeah, and I thought she did a very good job in that movie. There's a specific scene I love when horror movies like call out other like horror movie tropes. There's a scene in that movie when um I think the scene where this happens was after they dropped the Annabelle doll down the well, and they put the little like covering over the well. It's her and then the like nun. I don't think she's nun, but the teacher lady from her orphanage. Because they're staying at this dude's house. Um, but it's not as creepy as it sounds in that aspect. Uh, but anyway,
He's
the
staying
teacher
at a
person,
priest's house. It was a
yeah,
priest. They're
yeah, that's
staying
right.
at.
Eh,
Let's be clear on
He,
that. It's
uh,
not creepy in any way, guys.
yeah, the dude's actually like really nice. He's doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He's not the villain or anything. Um, but the um essentially the Lulu Wilson's character, I don't remember what her name is in the movie, but and their teacher person, the woman from the orphanage, they toss the Annabelle doll down into a well, cover it up with the wood covering thing, and as they're like walking away from it, you hear like a onto the wood, and you hear like the thud of like something like trying to break out, and like they turn to look at it, and like there's another one again, and the teacher's like, "What is that?" And Lulu Wilson just goes, "Who cares? Just run!" And just runs away.
Who cares? Just run. Dude, that's what
And
I've
it's
been
like,
saying
yeah,
forever.
you don't sit there and stare at it. Fucking run.
Oh
Yeah,
my god,
I
that's like
liked
that
that part.
freaking commercial. That's like the commercial, and it pisses me off so bad. I
The
hate this commercial.
No,
It's like,
let's hide with the chainsaws.
yeah, that
I
commercial.
can't wait get in the self-running car. I knew exactly which commercial you were going to talk about.
Stupid commercial. Like, why? Oh
Mm.
my god, but no, I completely get it. I would have told this. I would have
Uh,
been the same way.
I'm honestly not sure we're going to tie now because I don't think I'm going to score points for you. But maybe I'll get lucky and just get like two individual ones. I don't know. You clearly knew me better than I knew you for this category. But anyway, my number 7 pick for you was Natalie Portman.
Incorrect. Incorrect. No, my number 7 is the one and only Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith.
She played Professor McGonagall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know her. I know her. Yeah.
The only reason she's so far down below on the list is because that's the only series I've seen her in is Harry Potter, and I was
She's
like, I
apparently
can't
in
really
Downton.
put.
Oh, she's in
I,
Hook. I didn't
she
know
is
this. I'm googling it, but she's also in Downton Abbey
really.
apparently. So my grandma definitely knows who she is.
I forgot she was in Hook, but yes. So basically, Hook
Secret
and
Garden.
the Harry Potter films is the only things I've actually seen her act in. But based on that, I know she's a really good actress. I just haven't taken the time to go watch any of her older stuff.
My favorite line
So
of hers was, "Why is it whenever there's trouble, it's always you three?"
Yes.
Love
Oh my
that
gosh.
line.
But yes, she is just a phenomenal actress. I absolutely love her to death.
I haven't seen Hook in like 15, 20 years, but so I can't speak for her performance in that, but I do really like her a lot in Harry Potter. I'll give her that one.
Yes, she's so good. So this is where it comes down to do I really know you as good as I think I do?
Okay.
You're number 7.
Okay.
I put Winona Ryder because I feel like you'd be a big Beetlejuice fan.
I do like Beetlejuice, but that is not correct.
Damn.
My number 7 pick was Vera Farmiga. Which, if you don't know who that is, this is gonna go back into horror movies. She plays um, Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring series. She was also in Orphan, the movie Orphan. She herself isn't an orphan, to my knowledge, but she was in the movie Orphan. She was also in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Her character's kind of an idiot, but she's in that movie as well. I think she was also she played a couple smaller roles in like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and The Judge, which are a couple
That
other
was such a
movies I liked.
sad movie.
Yeah, The Judge is also a movie I liked with Robert Downey Jr. and one of the other Roberts. I always forget the name of. But mostly for I The Conjuring, for people who don't know, was the first horror movie I ever actually got to see. I was 15, getting ready to turn 16 soon when I saw it. And my dad, because my mom was very anti-horror movies, and but my dad and my stepmom weren't, but they just weren't really a big movie going bunch, so we never went to the movies and we never bought DVDs really in that household. So we never saw horror movies there. But the first Conjuring movie caught my dad's eye, and my dad was like, "How'd you guys like to all of us kids like how'd you guys like to go see your first scary movie?" And I was like, "Yes, please, 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 I would love to go see a scary movie." And
This
so we saw The Conjuring, which, as somebody who had grown up to the age of 15 with the scariest movie they'd seen being freaking Monster House, that animated movie, with the freaking. Uh,
That's the scariest movie you have
that
seen.
that the
Sounds
movie I had
really
seen up
scary.
to that point. So like The Conjuring was fucking terrifying at that point. Like literally my sister slept in my parents' bedroom at age 14 at that time. Because she was so scared in her own bedroom.
You
Um,
know, I find that so
yeah,
freaking hilarious because
I didn't go that
you
far, but that was what sparked my love for horror movies. After that, I binged through a ton of other horror movies through renting from Blockbuster, because Blockbuster still existed, and watching literally every horror
existed.
movie on Netflix.
Hey, we don't knock Blockbuster. It still exists. There's still one store
There's
out there, and
one,
so
but
until
yeah,
that one's gone,
I'm not
it's
knocking
still here.
Blockbuster. I have tons of great memories of Blockbuster. I just saying that I did it. Well, I don't use Blockbuster now because there isn't one anywhere remotely close to me. Um,
Um,
but I've yeah. Anyway, she was probably my favorite actor in general in that franchise, probably as a whole. And I don't know. She made it on the list because of that, and then in a couple other movies that she's in, I really like her as well. But she's the arguably, I guess, the lead actress. I don't really know who you'd count as the lead character in that movie, but um, probably the one of the two main characters of the franchise, where the first movie has a very important place in my heart for being my first horror movie and being a
right.
damn good one at that.
Um, so no, listen, I find that funny though that you weren't allowed to see horror movies. And we're like both such big horror movie buffs.
Oh yeah,
That you weren't allowed to see horror movies until then. And then,
yeah.
like me, on the other hand, my mom's like taking me at 6 years old to go like see The Grudge and to go
That's like
see Saw.
Shelby's mom. Shelby's mom would do that. She's a big horror movie buff. I had more of that like I guess that mindset of parents keeping you from doing something makes you want to do it more mentality. But I didn't
Yeah,
have any way to do it. I didn't even have access to the internet. I had no way to watch the movie. Um, but there was a couple times I'd seen like one of the scenes from Child's Play, the first Chucky movie, the scene where he like turns on the stove or the oven or whatever in somebody's house and it like blows up. That was it. That was the
yes.
only scene I had seen, only actual horror movie scene I had seen. But so eventually, whenever like went to see my first horror movie and I saw what it was like, all of a sudden I was like, I'm watching them all. I'm watching every horror movie, and I binge watched through all the classics, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, your Halloweens, your Friday the 13th, and went through like I saw all the other essentials like The Ring, Scream, Grudge, even the Japanese ones, like the Japanese originals, Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch Project, just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, everything up down to all like the independent movies that were on Netflix that sucked ass. I watched them anyway.
I watched them anyway. I wanted to see them. Yeah, no, horror movies are amazing. And anybody who hates them, doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, my mom sort of moved on. So at the time, she was very Catholic at the time. She's still religious, but she was like super Catholic at the time, and was like, they're the devil's movies or whatever. Now it's not the fact that she thinks they're the devil's movie, it's just the fact that she is horrified by them. Like she's very easily like she got scared by the movie The Meg, that shark movie.
Oh, I
Like
can't wait to see
she's
the second one.
she's just very easily scared and she just doesn't enjoy the scare. But it's like she doesn't like hate them, personally like she used to, like where it's like it's wrong that they even exist. She just doesn't like being scared in movies. She doesn't enjoy that sensation.
Right. That's
But
pretty
yeah,
cool.
um So we were on to my guess for your number 6, which
Yes.
I put Kate Winslet.
Incorrect. No. My number 6. And this time I know I got it right. Since there will be no correcting me. It's Margot Robbie. She's just a really good actress. And I absolutely loved her as
You're gonna say Harley Quinn, aren't you?
yeah. I don't know why. I was opening up chocolate and I completely freaking blanked on her damn name.
I liked
Just
her in
saying.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I actually haven't seen that film.
Hmm.
Have not seen that film. But yes, I absolutely loved her as Harley Quinn. And everything that she's played in after has been just as good. So yes.
I wouldn't say like I hated her as Harley Quinn. I just didn't like that movie. But I thought she did a pretty good job. I thought she was a pretty good, at least from what I like. I saw part of Birds of Prey. I didn't see the whole thing, and I haven't seen the newer Suicide Squad. I only saw the 2016 one, the original one.
The newer one sucked ass. Like it was worse than the first one.
I've seen nothing from it other than I know John Cena plays Peacemaker. That's because of the show that came out of it, which I don't know if that show's any good either or not, but I just know it happened. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about that, I guess. Yeah, I liked her in Wolf of Wall Street. I'll go with that one. That's a movie I've seen her in that I enjoyed, and she was good in.
Alright. So here's another one that I think that you would like. I could be wrong. Rachel Adams as your number 6.
Were you thinking of Rachel McAdams?
You're making me second guess.
I say I don't know who Rachel Adams is, but I know who Rachel McAdams is. Unless there could be a Rachel Adams, and I just don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's Rachel McAdams. I don't know why okay, so let me be clear. I was just pulling off a list of actresses, and
Gotcha.
that's what they had her last name. Like I said in the beginning, I don't use actresses' last names a very lot.
I just want to make sure I had the right person.
Yes, Rachel McAdams.
It's still wrong, but I'll let you know Rachel McAdams was almost on the list. Like I was trying to like, for my number 10 spot, I was like, do I do Rachel McAdams or Elizabeth Olsen? Was my debate. Because I do like Rachel McAdams a lot, and I liked her in Doctor Strange. I liked her in Mean Girls. I liked her in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh my god. Eurovision? Let's go, great.
I'm not a fan of The Notebook, but she did well in that movie, I suppose. But no, my number 6. This one's probably one that I'd be very shocked if you had to guess from me somewhere. But my number 6 is Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer's such a good actress as well.
Yeah, she's so. I remember when because she kind of like first became like super prominent from The Help, was kind of like her big pop off one, but I originally know her as Dr. Fucking what was it called? Dr. Evilini from Wizards of Waverly Place. Was where I first knew her from. She's the evil professor from the whatever the wizard school special was on Wizards of Waverly Place.
What was the first film I seen her in? I'm gonna have to look at her maybe to find out.
I saw her in The Help. She was in Ma. That was another good one. The Shape of Water, fantastic movie. I love that movie. She did really well in that one.
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures was gonna be my next one. Gifted, that's another good movie she's in. Instant Family.
If you haven't seen The Witches, the newer version of Yeah, what is the kids witches? I can't remember exactly what the original film was called. But it was like this really old time movie where this little boy lived with his grandmother because his parents had died, and she would tell him all about these witches and how these witches would like attack kids because they hate kids with the passion. They remade it with Anne Hathaway as the main witch in it,
Hmm.
and Octavia Spencer played the grandmother. It was actually really good.
Maybe I'll check that one out. She also played Mrs. Otterton. Is that her name in Zootopia? Um,
Yes.
which
I didn't
is
realize that was
another
her.
movie. Yeah, I Octavia Spencer was one of those ones where like I didn't realize how much she was one of my favorite actresses until I started thinking about the list, and I was like, Octavia Spencer's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say she's better than and you know what? Actually, she's going all the way up at number 6. I didn't even like realize she would be in the top 10 until I thought about it. I was like, you know
Hello.
what? She is really good. I knew she was good, but like she is like one of my favorites. I wouldn't. She doesn't immediately come to mind. She's not in like anything that's like in my like one of my favorite movies of all time, but she's in so many of movies that I just enjoy a lot. She's got like a number of movies that a ton of people love. I guess Shape of Water is a movie that I do really like, and Zootopia. Um,
Jesse,
but yeah. Hmm.
I just found out that she played in Halloween too.
Oh yeah, I saw that when I read it. She was kind of a minor character. I
She
think
was a minor
yeah,
character, but I didn't realize she was a minor character in it. I
yeah,
was trying
because
to
she
see
wasn't
what
famous at the
first
time.
movie I'd seen her in.
First thing I saw her in, I know for a fact, was Wizards of Waverly Place because I didn't see Halloween 2 until after 2013, whenever The Conjuring came out. Wizards of Waverly Place that special was probably like what 2009, 2008, 2009, something like that. I'm gonna say 2009. I don't even remember what that special was called.
I think maybe the Divergent series Insurgent back in 2015 may have been the first movie I seen her in.
Hmm.
Oh, she also played in Big Mama's House apparently. But that was back in
Yeah,
2000. I
yeah,
don't
there's
remember her
probably
in that
another
one.
minor role I would assume maybe. I know she did a lot of minor roles beforehand, before making it big in The Help, which is also a really good movie. But
Oh yeah, she plays in Onward. I totally forgot. She was the mom, right? Or
she
she was
might
the
be.
mom.
I've only seen Onward once. I don't fully remember
No,
that
she was
well.
the Manticore. That's right.
Oh yeah. You are right. That is that. Now that you say that, I remember fully now. Yes.
Oh, she played in Spirited. I forgot. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen that movie yet, you should totally watch it with who plays in it? Damn, Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's a
Yeah.
musical, but honestly, it was not that bad. I thought it was gonna be so stupid. It was actually really freaking good.
Interesting.
Um,
But I guess
so moving on.
yeah. I was gonna say moving on. My guess for your number 5. It is still 0-2, by the way. I've yet to get any points. And I'm not sure I'm going to. But I still haven't gone to the second one that I picked because I know you like at least a movie that they're in. But that one still has yet to come, and I'm feeling less and less comfortable with that one, or less confident that that one will be on your list, based on how this has gone. But my number 5 pick for you was Melissa McCarthy.
Incorrect. So this was another one I didn't think you would get. Um, and I'm gonna butcher her name because I've never said her name. When I refer to her, I refer to her as the girl who played in Divergent. Um, but Shailene Woodley, I believe is how you pronounce her name. The main
Yeah, at least something
character
like
in
that.
Divergent. Um, she's played in so many good movies since that series, and I loved her in that series. This is when I first was introduced to her. But she played in The Fault in Our Stars, which was so freaking sad and heartbreaking. Which came out just after the Divergent series ended. And then her newest movie, To Catch a Killer, she was actually really good in that movie as well. So she's come a long way. from her in her acting career, because of the Divergent series. I think made her a lot more popular.
Interesting. I saw like part of the first one and that's it for Divergent, so I
really
don't
wish
have a
they
leg
would've
to
made
stand
the
out for that
fourth
one.
There's supposed to be a fourth film, but they never made it. I know it was Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, and then there was one other one.
Isn't it based on a book series?
It is based off a book series.
I
And
only
it's
know because
following the series.
I think my sister read it, but
Speaking of book series, have you ever seen The Hunger Games?
oh yeah, I never saw the last one, but I read all the books first.
So they're actually making a new Hunger Games. It's
I
going to be
saw that.
based off of her last book, which is like a precursor to all her other books.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I thought it was
they
kind of
left out
fun.
the most important character though, so it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It was kind of funny though because I was mentioning I was carrying around the book, so I was gonna finally read it because I just never got into reading it, even though I bought the book and just never cracked it open. I was carrying around the book and I was telling my dad about it because I found a. I don't know if you've ever seen one, Jesse, but there's like a barcode in some books. You'll find them in like certain books. It's actually the security tag for the book. So when you leave
Oh
out
yeah.
the store, it was the first time I had ever seen one. So I was telling my dad about it. And I said, this was in the Hunger Games book. He said, I haven't seen that one. I said, yeah, this is actually the only book they haven't made a film out of. I said, I hope next year they get a film. This was like 2 weeks before the trailer for the next film dropped. And I was like, oh, well, I guess they're getting the movie this year. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I started the only reason I started reading the books, there were no movies out yet whenever this happened. Like the movies didn't exist yet. Um, there was we had a book. Do you guys have book fairs at school? Or do you have that?
Well,
Like scholastic book fairs?
yeah, up until up until 7th grade.
Yeah. So I don't remember which grade it was, but it was somewhere in like late elementary or early middle school. My parents were like, "You have to buy a book and read it," because I had to for like I have to earn so many accelerated reader points in school per semester for my English grade or whatever, based off reading books and taking quizzes. And I picked up a book called Catching Fire and I bought it. And then after I got home, realized it said the sequel to Hunger Games. I was like, well, fuck. And so then my parents and then I got smacked for saying, well, fuck. And then my parents went and bought me the first one. And they're like, well, now you have to read them because you made us buy 2 books. And I was like, all right, fine. So I read the first one. I was like, hey, that was actually pretty good. I'll go ahead and read the second one. And I read the second one. And then I think the first movie came out before Mockingjay the book came out, but Mockingjay the book came out before Catching Fire the movie. If I recall correctly, and I remember I bought Mockingjay day 1 and I read it all the way through. I never saw part 2 of Mockingjay the movie. I don't remember why, but I just never did. But I saw the first 3 movies and I read all 3 books. I did not read the whatever that new book was. I just read the original trilogy.
Yeah. I still have yet to read it. I think I know what it's about. It's basically about the very first Hunger Games and like
Yeah, I saw the trailer for the new
before Jon Snow became the guy. But
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. Shut up. I'm sorry. I have the internet pulled up and they have freaking what's his name pulled up right now. Oh my god. The guy who played Jon Snow.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Anyway, point being, I still have yet to read the book, even though I purchased it for like $20.
They didn't freaking bring back Charles White as District 8 hospital helper, so I don't care. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move on because we're just like getting off track now.
Wait, which pick were we talking about? Hang on, I forgot. What was your number? Because I guessed your number 5, right?
Yeah, and I told you it was Shailene with.
That's right. Okay, I completely forgot.
Then we just went off on a tangent on something else because of me and my ADHD. Anyway, back to your list. So we're on your number 5, right?
Correct.
I put Margot Robbie because I feel like you should also like Margot Robbie.
Well, that is incorrect. My number 5, going back to horror movies specifically for this person. This is the only person I think that is specifically and exclusively for horror movies. But my number 5, huh?
It's a Tyra Banks. She
No.
was in that one Halloween movie.
No, my number 5 is Lynn Shay.
Oh, Lynn Shay.
Who's primarily known for the Insidious series, but she's also in other ones, like she was in the Ouija movies. She was in a bunch of horror movies. She was in The Final Wish, Black Room. What else was she in? Yeah, she was in Nightmare on Elm Street. I always forget she was in that movie. But if you look at her, like if you pull her up on like IMDb, it's almost exclusively horror movies listed. For her, she has some other ones, like There's Something About Mary, but it's almost exclusively horror movies. And that's the only reason she's on my list. Is I like her a lot, and all the horror movies I've seen her in. I've seen her in tons of like obscure horror movies that she's played in. And was she?
They have a new Insidious coming out?
Probably, yeah.
It's called Insidious: The Red Door. It's
oh yeah, look at that. I see that. Dreamcatcher, another movie I've seen that she's in.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize she was in that movie. It's an old movie too.
She's in all kinds of horror movies, but even though Insidious isn't the best horror franchise, she is the best part of it. And the first Insidious, I still really like, and I think she's a key part in that. Was she? I thought she was in. Let me look. I could be wrong. No, shit. Not the movie I was trying to. This one. I don't want to say it and then sound like an idiot when I'm wrong. I am wrong. Never mind. She wasn't in that movie. Never mind. Doesn't matter. But anyway, she's in a lot of horror movies. And she's very good at playing like the creepy old lady or the psychic. Specifically one of those two characters. She's one of those actresses that kind of plays the same character in every movie she's in, but I don't care. She's the best one at playing that character. So that's why she's on my list. Whitney, you still there?
Okay. Yes, I am. Sorry, I'm listening to you, but I'm also reading this. So the new Insidious actually comes out July 7th of this year.
Oh, so that's not very far away.
I'm so excited. Yeah, no, honestly, there were so many people to choose from that I completely forgot about her. Like, you think about all the people, like actresses, 'cause, like, you know, I'm a big movie buff, so I'm watching a lot of movies all the time. I don't care. That there's so many actresses that you try to think of that you completely forget others.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time I was going through the list. Is I was gonna forget somebody because like I'm just like it's such a large pool to pick from, and it just depends on what movies you think of while you're trying to assemble this list.
It really is, and I feel like I should have put her on my list.
I thought you might, but I did not guess her for you because I was like, I don't know if she'll even think of her. That was literally my reasoning why I didn't put it on there for you.
I am so upset because I legitimately bought the game, Quarry, to play, literally just because she's in it.
Yeah, I forgot she's in that too.
It's a very shit game, but her part in the game is actually really good. She makes the game. She makes the game. So I'm kind of upset that I didn't put her on my list.
Yeah. I guess moving on to number 4. My number 4 pick for you. I still gotta catch up. Still 0-2, but my number 4 pick for you was Zoe Saldana.
I don't know who that is.
She plays Gamora and what's her face in Avatar, the James Cameron
Oh,
movie.
okay. I do know who that is, but I don't know her by name. I just know her as Gamora.
Yeah,
And
she's in some other stuff too, but that's like her two big. She's literally in I remember she's the only person to be in the top two highest grossing movies of all time, and be in both of them.
you know, that's actually absolutely fucking hilarious, and I'll explain why later. That you put her down. But no, that is not my number 4 pick. My number 4 pick, still same universe as Gamora, but with Scarlett Johansson.
Interesting.
Just really liked her as Black Widow.
Very
Um,
interesting.
no, she's really good. She's a really good actress, and she's also a really good singer. I didn't know she could sing until sing. But
Excuse me.
it was just she's just a really good actress. I don't think there's been a film that she's played in that I dislike. She played in Lucy. She was good in Lucy. Avengers. She probably did Black Widow justice. I don't think anybody else playing Black Widow could have done that role any better than she did. Based off all the comics and how the comics go. So absolutely love Scarlett Johansson. She played oh my fucking god, I'm gonna forget. She played the snake on the Jungle Book, the live action Disney version. I can't remember the snake's name to save my life.
I can't remember either.
But from the original animated Disney version to the live action version, she enhanced that character so well. Like, the snake was my favorite character in the original Jungle Book. To see it going to the live action, and instead of being a male actor, like it was originally a male in the very first film, to a female.
I think the female one sounds a lot more sinister. I think her voice has like a little.
It did.
Yeah.
It made the role.
He's less of a joke. I feel like in the remake, I feel like he's a lot creepier, or she,
Yeah.
I guess, in this sense,
Yeah.
from being sort of a goof to pretty darn creepy.
As cartoony and as like aloof from the original film.
Right.
It's like when you watch the original film and you see the snake.
Snake's just kind of a doofus in the original one.
So stupid, and like even when he's hypnotizing Mowgli, it's just like
just his eyes with flowing stripes, and he's just like, yeah.
If you were in this film, I was putting myself there. If I was in this film, would that really hypnotize me?
I will throw out there, the Jungle Book is one of the very few Disney live action remakes I actually like.
Yeah, the live action was so good.
And it's definitely my favorite of their live action remakes, I think.
But when you go to Scarlett Johansson's Snake, she didn't actually talk loud in that movie at all. She kind of talked more of a whisper.
Yeah.
Which made it a lot more sinister and a little bit more serious. But even when she was like hypnotizing Mowgli, it was more of a manipulative hypnotization. Did I say that?
Sorry for all the
actual,
squeaks.
I'm gonna hypnotize you type of thing. Like, just because of the way she was talking and everything, and she was talking slower and lower, I was like, you know what? I think I would follow what she was saying if she was talking to me too.
Yeah.
It was just such a good role. And I mean, every actor and actress in that movie was so good.
This isn't a knock at the original one, just gonna throw out there. It's just it's one of the few times where I think, at least for me, I think the remake did something that I think was a bit more effective than the original.
Exactly.
Not necessarily talking about for the whole movie, but at least in this category, I feel like they enhanced the movie.
Right. I also feel like they enhanced King Louie though too.
Yeah, I thought what's his name?
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken, yeah. I thought he did a pretty good King Louie.
Oh, he did. Especially when he sang the song too.
I Want to Be Like You.
Yeah, he definitely slowed it down a lot more than it was in the original film, and I think it worked for that song so much better than like it being sped up in the original. such a good movie. But yes, Scarlett Johansson was my number 4. Which brings me to your number 4, because I feel like you're a big How I Met Your Mother type of person. That I feel like Kobe Smolder would totally be somebody like that you would watch on film. The chick who played Robin.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm gonna initially answer that with I've never seen How I Met Your Mother, but I know who Colby Smulders is because she plays Agent Hill in the Avengers.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot she did.
So I like her from that. I did know she was in How I Met Your Mother, but I have not seen that show. But
See it every once in a while. I've never sat down to consecutively watch it episode after episode, but every once in a while I'll catch a random episode.
My number 4. I keep thinking we're on number 3. My number 4 is this is the one that I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think I am. Anya Taylor-Joy. She's an actress that kind of is probably the most recently prominent one. The role I like her most in is in the movie The Witch from 2015. She was also in Split, which was
Oh, that was
2017.
a good movie.
And she plays Peach in the new Mario movie.
Peach.
Yeah, she played
Yeah,
Peach.
I
I remember
still-
I was actually she was one of the few cast members that I was like, yeah, that's a good idea.
I still hate Peach. Not gonna lie, I actually hated the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. I just know she's in it.
I absolutely hated it. But
I'm not super looking forward to it just because I don't like Illumination Studios. But
Peach honestly wasn't that bad. I'm gonna put
she
that out there.
she was
Peach
the one
wasn't that
casting
bad.
choice along with Jack Black as Bowser. We were the only two casting choices where I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know what it was. I feel like it was because like
Everybody
her
else didn't seem
her
right to
voice
me.
wasn't so high pitched like it normally is. Peach, not the actress, but Peach herself. Which is why I can't stand her. I hate her voice in like the video games and things like that. But
Rosalina's the better princess anyway.
yes.
She's also in.
They put her voice down more to a normal level with Anya Taylor-Joy, and honestly, it worked really well. It was not annoying, and I could stand it. So, you know what? Good on her for improving a very stupid character.
She was also in Emma, The Queen's Gambit, Last Night in Soho, and that movie that just came out the past year, The Menu, where all the people get invited to like the dinner party, and there's like some. I never saw it, but I definitely saw the trailer for it several times on TV. The one where The Menu, the one where like a bunch of people are invited to the dinner party, and that, but like I forget, is it like they don't know why they're there or something? There's like something creepy going on.
I only seen the clip with her in it. I actually have not seen the movie. I do want to watch that.
I haven't seen the movie either, but I just know she was in that movie as well. She's like very recent. I think she's definitely gonna be collecting Oscars at some point. She's just very good and quickly move. Like she's not even a blockbuster movie person, as you can see. She's just like just straight into like the serious movie roles. And I think she's gonna be winning a lot of awards, and I hope so because what I've seen her in, especially the Witch, that's a movie I really like. That was her first, to my knowledge at least, her first like big movie she was in.
I didn't realize that she was the main actress in The Queen's Gambit because I started recently watching that. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so she's one that's like I like what she's managed to accomplish in such a short period of time, from like 2015 to now.
She played in a show, and I don't know who she played in. Played as, sorry. Who she played as. It was like one of the minor characters or something. There used to be a show, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's Atlantis, the something.
I did see that on. I haven't seen the show, but I saw it on her filmography.
Yeah, Atlantis, the legend begins. It is such a stupid show that it is good because it is so stupid. It's just like where it like mixes a bunch of legends and stuff together. But Mark Addy is also in it. Um, it was just like it was a really good like TV series. But you should totally check that series out.
Interesting. Maybe I will. I don't know. But moving on. My my number 3 guess for you was Emma Watson.
Incorrect. Incorrect.
Still 0-2.
I feel like you have not gotten anyone right. You might get my number 1 right. I feel like you got my number 1 right.
I don't know about that.
I 100% like if you know anything about me, you would have gotten my number 1.
Now I'm definitely getting it wrong. Just you saying that is, even though I've already chosen what my pick for number 1 is, that definitely means I'll choke on the number 1. I'll say my number 1 pick for you did star in a movie we've talked about already. That's all I'll say.
So you might have gotten it.
I may. I don't know. But I'm not gonna say I do.
No. So my number 3 is actually I'm gonna butcher her last name because I never said her last name. Hayden
Panettiere.
Yeah.
She's really good. I like her a lot.
Played in Heroes, and she's played in one of the Scream movies. She played in the new Scream movie as well.
She was in Until Dawn as well, that game.
Yes, she was also in Until Dawn for video gamers. Just always loved her from Heroes. Yeah. Heroes was the very first thing I've ever seen her in. And from then, like, she's just done really well. She was also apparently in A Bug's Life.
That I did not know. Cool. Did you ever you see the movie or the show Nashville?
Yeah, she's also in Nashville.
I was gonna say that's what I know her from most specifically, because that was one of the shows I used to watch with my dad and my stepmom, and she was really good in that.
She played in Remember the Titans. She was the daughter in Remember the Titans.
Really? I did not know that. I haven't seen that movie in forever, but I had no idea.
Yep, she played the little girl in Remember the Titans. I think that was like going back and watching her films. I think that was like one of her like really good ones too. 'Cause she had so much attitude in that movie.
I haven't seen that movie in like 15 years.
For others who have not seen those movies, she also played in Disney's Ice Princess. She played in Dinosaurs. She's played in. What else has she played in?
Dinosaurs, like the show?
No, Dinosaurs the movie, like the original Disney movie, Dinosaurs.
Oh, Dinosaur.
Yeah, Dinosaur. Dinosaur. Specifically.
I thought you meant the TV show, the Not the Mama show.
Not the Mama. Oh my god. She played in Hoodwinked too, and she's played in Bring It On and I Love You, Beth Cooper. So she's played in a lot of things.
I didn't know that she was in the. I know what all those things are, but I did not know she was in the like any of those latter ones.
Yes, she was. So yes, she's gotten around since Heroes. Heroes was a really good show. If you haven't seen it, Jesse, you need to go back and watch it.
I saw like my parents watched it when I was a kid. I didn't watch it with them, but I did catch some clips of it. I don't remember it at all, but I remember it existing. And my parents liked it back when my mom and dad were still together, so when I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah. But yes, so that was my number 3. So Jesse, moving on to your number 3. I put Maggie Smith because you have to love Maggie Smith. Everybody has to love Maggie Smith.
Well, that is not my number 3. My number 3 was Helena Bonham Carter. That was the one that we had in common between our 2 lists. Because I like Tim Burton movies. I like all of her roles in there, and I like Harry Potter. Harry Potter. I like Bellatrix Lestrange, one of my favorite Harry Potter characters.
Wait, and we had in common. That's not on my list.
No, one that I had guessed for you that is also on my list, I should say. As everything else I kept different for the sake of variety. Um, but she was also in Fight Club, which I haven't seen in ages, so I don't remember how prominent she was. But she was in Fight Club. But I mostly know her for her Tim Burton movies and Harry Potter, of which there are a lot. So, um, yeah, that's why she's number 3 for me. But my number 2 guess for you was Scarlett Johansson. So at least I got 1 point.
You got 1 point.
I'm not feeling good about.
We obviously know that that's incorrect.
Yeah.
No. My number 2 is Emily Deschanel, which, if you don't know, Zoe Deschanel's older sister, who played Bones in the TV show Bones.
I was gonna say, I know who Zoe Deschanel is.
Emily Deschanel, honestly, I think is a little bit of a better actress than her sister.
I see.
I've only ever seen her in Bones, and then I think like one other movie. But because of Bones,
I've seen her in. What have I seen her in?
It was such a long-running show that I absolutely fell in love with her.
She was in Spider-Man. That's what I've seen her in.
Yes.
2 and 3. I saw a picture and I was like, I know that face. What have I seen her in? So I had to Google her.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, so if you haven't seen Bones, definitely watch Bones. Emily Deschanel, really good actress. So I'm gonna move on to your number 2. This is what I found really hilarious, because you put I don't remember her name, but you put the chick who played Gamora.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I put Karen Gillian as
my number 2,
which obviously played her sister.
Nebula. Yeah.
In the movie. Yeah. So it was like, that's freaking hilarious.
That is incorrect. Remember how you were talking about back on the, I think it was when you were talking about Octavia Spencer, you were talking about that witches show?
Yeah.
Well, my number 2 is Anne Hathaway.
I looked at Anne Hathaway and I'm like,
Anne Hathaway
would not be an Anne Hathaway
character. Anne Hathaway was originally my number 1 until the other person popped into my head. I was going to be one of those situations where I just didn't think of the person. But Anne Hathaway, I liked since I was a kid. I guess I've seen her in a ton of stuff. My mom watched Devil Wears Prada a billion times when I was younger. But I also like Interstellar. There was Love and Other Drugs. She played Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. She was in Les Miserables. She was in Ella Enchanted, which is a movie I still like to make fun of because they're like they're things I feel like that would realistically happen if that show, if what happened in that movie could happen in real life. I feel like it would have gotten a lot darker. But and then the Princess Diaries movies, that's more Shelby's thing, but I've seen her in that a million times. She was in that Get Smart movie, the movie they made out of it. And I really liked her in that a lot too, and she was basically kicking Steve Carell's ass the whole time. She was in Passengers, Hoodwinked as well. I never thought we'd bring up Hoodwinked twice, a show that movie I don't think anybody even remembers exists. Just a lot of stuff, but she's one that I've liked for a long time. I guess pretty consistent over a long period of time, staying relevant and stuff. From kids' movies to more adult movies. But yeah, Anne Hathaway was my number 2. So I guess this comes down to my guess for your number 1. I do not think it's right. I guess, are you ready?
Yeah.
My guess for your number 1 was Jennifer Lawrence.
Alright, before I reveal, there's an honorable mention that I have to get out of the way.
Okay.
Because Could have also easily been my number one, but I had to choose just one. Julie Andrews,
Okay.
absolutely amazing actress. Has played in so many things, especially her older movies like The Sound of Music, um, Mary Poppins. Phenomenal actress, phenomenal, top-notch actress. With that being said, you're incorrect,
I figured.
and I feel like you don't know me at all,
I
and
told you I was gonna get it wrong.
I feel very devastated because you should know that Glenn Close is my number one. We were talking about 101 Dalmatians just earlier. Jesse, come on now.
I had already made the list well before, well before that. By the way, to be fair.
I will give you that, but you should have realized it was wrong right then and there. No, Glenn Close, absolutely amazing.
We also
Actress.
talked about Hunger Games earlier, so.
I mean, that's true. She is just a phenomenal actress. She also played in Hoodwinked. We're gonna bring that up for a third time. She played the grandmother. I thought that was funny though. You're like, I'm gonna bring it up for the second time. I was like, I'll bring it up for a third time. Glenn Close plays the grandmother in but she just played Cruella de Vil so well. That became my number one movie when I was younger. Cruella de Vil, 101 Dalmatians, that was my jam. And then more recently, when she played in the first Guardians of the Galaxy as I guess, commander, or I forget what her specific was. But the head honcho.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
On the planet, I thought she was absolutely hilarious because she had to be serious, but there was still that I don't know, there's still that air of like comedianism, like about her, while she was doing that serious role. That was just like worked so well with that character. Glenn Close can act so well.
I hope so. She's your number one.
Yes, she's just phenomenal. If I say this all the time, if I don't care about meeting celebrities. Absolutely do not give a crap about meeting celebrities. To me, they're honestly just people like me. Why would I want to meet somebody? You know what I'm saying? I don't like meeting people. Glenn Close is the exception. She's the only one I would ever want to meet.
Yeah.
So, well, okay, no. So Glenn Close and Julia Andrews, obviously, but they're both my number ones. But Glenn Close a little bit more than Julia Andrews.
All right. Well, since according to you, I do not know you at all, so it's time to see whether you're much hyped number one that you're very confident about, and so that you know me well enough that like it had to be my number one or on the list somewhere.
I've completely gotten this wrong, by the way. I know by now that I've gotten this wrong. I told you it was an 80-20. It falls in the 20. For your number one, I put Scarlett Johansson.
That is incorrect. But she did almost make it. But she was one of those situations where it's like, I wouldn't put anybody that like I only primarily know from one thing. And she was in the Jungle Book, obviously, but like the main reason she would have ended up on there would be pretty much exclusively for MCU. Though my number one pick has only been in about 5 things that I've seen. But my number one pick was Emilia Clarke, who is Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones. She was the girl in Me Before You. Hated that movie, but she did a good job. She played the girl. She was the girl in Solo: A Star Wars Story. She was in another movie called Voice from the Stone, which is pretty good. That she was also the lead actress in. And then she played I can't remember the character's name. It's literally the main character of the entire fucking franchise. But the what's her face in Terminator Genesis?
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor, that's right. Like, Again, hated that movie, but she was the best part about it. I don't really. I think that's all I've seen her in, but primarily for Game of Thrones is the primary reason. She was absolutely amazing in that show.
He really was up until the
Yeah.
end. Up until the end.
Well,
That's
the
the
show
very.
sucked at the end. It wasn't really her fault.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't her fault, but like also her acting. The way that they wrote the show, it just I don't know. It threw her
Like,
whole character off, and I was just like, you
so
know what?
I'm
At
not
this
gonna.
point, I can't with you.
I'm not gonna spoil the show, but the way that her character arc goes in the final season, I actually don't technically have a problem with it. I have a problem that it happened so fast.
You
Like
know,
the way it goes, like that should have been at least spread out over the course of a couple seasons of the show. That arc shouldn't have happened over the course of, 10 seconds in one episode like it did.
you know,
Like
I'm
there were a
gonna put
couple
it out
hints
there.
earlier, but like
I
yeah.
really hate the direction that her character went. Not just in the final few episodes, but you can kind of see where it was going in the like the season before it. And I was just like sitting here watching the show, and I'm like, I really didn't want her to follow the trend. I kind of wish that she would
I
do
kind of did.
better.
Like, and
I
as a person, I obviously would want her to not do that, but like, I thought it would be more interesting to the story if she did. I just didn't think. I don't like the way they went about doing it. Like the fact that it just kind of like there's a couple of like slight hints, I guess, but for the most part, it just kind of happens out of nowhere. Like as opposed to like a gradual change, it's like a couple hints and then the
yes.
sudden shift was where the problem was for me. But regardless, for the first like 5 or 6 seasons, before season 7 and 8, that show is phenomenal, and she was definitely the best character, at least in my opinion. And definitely a large part of it is thanks to her acting ability. And then even in movies, like the other movies, I didn't really like that much for the most part, but she was the best part about them. And I hope to see her in more stuff. I guess she's going to be in the Marvel Studios Secret Invasion, playing somebody. Who's she playing this? Gia. I don't know anything about that, but I hope to see her in more stuff in the future. But Game of Thrones specifically, she left a very large impression. She was just my favorite actress in that show by a long shot. Peter Dinklage was also very good. They were my two favorites, but she was my favorite. Peter Dinklage as I forget his character's name. Tyrion. Was he Tyrion? Was that his name?
Yeah,
Lannister.
Tyrion Lannister.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched House of the Dragon either. Just because I know I heard it was actually pretty decent.
It was real good.
The final season of Game of Thrones burned me so bad that literally I was showing Shelby the show. We were partway through season 3, and I had her stop watching because I didn't want her to have to deal with watching the end.
Listen, it honestly makes the ending. It honestly makes the ending to Game of Thrones a little bit more acceptable, in my opinion. Knowing the history, 'cause
Yeah,
that's basically all it's about. Is
yeah,
the
it is
history.
of the Targaryen family, right?
Yeah. But speaking of which, because we're talking about Game of Thrones, and you said that her and Tyrion were your favorites. Honestly, up until that point, her and Arya.
Arya
were
was the
mine.
yes, Arya would definitely be up there too.
Like legit, the first I had to go back and rewatch Game of Thrones like seasons 1 through 5. Um, before like I was on 6, but I was like, I should probably go back and rewatch this because I legit just skipped through all the like important information just until those two were on the screen, and legit that's all I would watch of the show. It's just their scenes. because I liked them so much, and I found their stories more interesting than the rest of the show at the time.
Yeah, I definitely say that a girl is my number 3 pick for that show on characters.
Yeah. But yes, very, very good show.
What? Yeah, it's. Did you ever find out like why the show ended the way it did? Like IRL, like the reason why I should point out, like, I guess I should clarify. This isn't really spoiling it, I don't think. But one of the big criticisms to the final season of Game of Thrones is that it ends too suddenly. Like everything just starts pedal to the metal out of nowhere, like flying to the end of from a show that's a pretty slow burn in its stories to suddenly, like, in the course of 6 episodes, everything happens and just freaking pedals to the metal straight to the end.
No, because I didn't know it was a IRL reason.
So there is. So I forget their names, but the 2 guys that run Game of Thrones, they had received an offer to work on a Star Wars show for Disney Plus, and they rushed the ending to Game of Thrones so that way they could start working on their Star Wars show. But after Game of Thrones season 8 got such a bad reception, they got fired from the show. So they didn't even get to do their Star Wars part.
You know, I find that it might be harsh for me to say this, but you know what? I don't care. You know what? I feel like that's poetic justice. You fucked up my show.
Yeah, like I was like, yeah, don't use like, dude, the Star Wars shows in the future, they can wait. They've got plenty of Star Wars projects in the works already. Like we don't need like. Yeah, I found that out like well after the fact, but I was like, those motherfuckers ruined my favorite show just to start on because they're excited to work on Star Wars.
No, listen, not only did they ruin your favorite show just to work on Star Wars, they ruined your favorite show to work on Star Wars. That was probably going to be stupider than the first 6-7 different Star Wars series that they've had. Like, oh my god.
I don't know what show it was, or if I ever found out what show it was, but like at the time that I heard this, I think Mandalorian was the only one that was out, which was like really good. So I was like that has like at the time, like the Game of Thrones showrunners working on another show with the same budget as the Mandalorian just had sounded like a great idea, because at the time, like, Game of Thrones was on top of the world. It was like still holds the record for the most pirated TV show in history. That it was a HBO show, but we'll never know. And I'm much happier that way. I'm glad they got some sort of. But I know it's not a crime or anything. But like I know it sounds harsh, but I'm glad they got some sort of punishment for running the biggest show in the world into the ground. After they built it up, and I guess it was their show, but like, I don't know, I'm just maybe I'm just sour, but I was very angry. But hey, on the bright side, you finally won an episode. We did not get our tie. We both scored, unlike I thought. I thought you were getting 0-0.
I'm excited, and I'm really upset, but also really excited. I really wanted us to tie.
Yeah, you were very close. You were 1 point off. Literally, my Scarlett Johansson one was 2 spots away from your from where you had her, while your Emma Stone was 1 space off of where I had her. If my Emma Stone was number 8, we would have tied. Or if your Scarlett Johansson was number 3, we would have tied.
Yeah.
We got the same number of guesses correct, but
yeah. Well, I mean, on the bright side, we get to like talk about Greek mythology.
Yeah, you finally get to pick a topic. You finally won one, so it's not, at least it's not me winning again.
So specifically, when I say your favorite Greek god / goddess, I mean like from their lore. So like the lore of Zeus or like the lore of Aphrodite. Not just because I like their name.
So
You know what I'm
mine
saying?
has nothing to do with their names, so I'm not like super, like at least caught up on the lore of them. But they're like I have favorites. Not probably not as deep as the reasoning for yours. But I guess we'll see where it goes. And I'm obviously not going to count things like Percy Jackson or something into this, but based off of like their actual incarnations.
Yeah.
But
That's definitely what I mean. It's like
yeah,
based off their actual
based off
lore,
of
not
actual
like
Greek stuff.
spin-offs
Yeah,
or like
they're
interpretations.
like, no, I don't like Zeus. He was a dick in Percy Jackson.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of hate some of the stories though. Like legit, some of the stories from what's a good movie?
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, Clash of the Titans. That's actually a perfect example. You know, with Perseus being the son of Zeus, that was not true. He was actually the son of Poseidon. Things like that. That's why I want to exclude all movies because they always get it wrong. All movies and all TV shows. Let's go directly from like Greek mythology, from like the true legend of it. I think that's
You're definitely more knowledgeable on the subject than I am, but I think it'll make for a nice contrast where you'll be like, oh, I like Ares because of his past history of trauma throughout the course of these several wars, and I'm having to learn with all this. And I was like, I like Ares because his axe is nice. You know, like, he's got cool weapons.
I love Ares.
You know, like just have like he'll go deep in the lore, and I'll be like, this one thing I know about them was really cool. But it'll make a learning experience for me, and I'll be the more common folk person on the show, and you'll be the one that knows all the details.
Why does it sound like we're in The Hobbit or something? I'm the common folk.
Yeah, the peasants, you know.
We're the peasants.
Sort of like if we did like I'm trying to think of something that like I obsess over that you don't really know much of. Wrestling one. The wrestling one. You would have people like, I like The Rock. Or, you know, I like Hulk Hogan. You know, like just where I'd be like, oh, I like The Rock because his feud he had with Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17 was, you know, like I'd go in detail. Meanwhile, you'd just be like, Randy Savage. Who?
The Crypt Keeper or something like that.
The Crypt
I
Keeper?
legit don't know wrestlers.
I was just trying to go with like the ones that are like super famous, like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Macho Man.
Listen, I don't even know that. The Rock, maybe. Hulk Hogan, maybe.
The Rock is Dwayne Johnson, so I'd hope you know who he is.
This would probably be
like, you may not know what they do in wrestling, but like just know who, like, know of them. Like, I've heard of them. John Cena, you know.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot John Cena was a wrestler. Totally forgot that. That would have not been on my list. At all.
But yeah, I guess like this would be just like an inverse of that.
This is okay. Legit, if we had a wrestling, I can tell you exactly how it's gonna go. Okay.
How's that?
10 through 7. 10 through 7 will be marked as yes, whatever Jesse picked. Yes.
I thought you were just gonna say you would Google like wrestlers and just put them in there.
And then 8, 9, and 10 would be Cena, Hogan, and then The Rock. And that's legit how the list would go, and Jesse would win.
Well, I would honestly just like list off the most famous ones, like or most famous people who were wrestlers.
Look at that.
Macho Man's the one that's on all the Slim Jim stuff. Yeah, I'd go on like a whole tangent about like specific things at specific events, and yeah, I'd go like very in depth when she'd be like, Dwayne Johnson's tattoo is nice.
You know, he was a really good actor. I don't
Yeah.
know him from his wrestling career.
Yeah, exactly. Hulk Hogan has a
Actually,
neat mustache.
yeah, I would say actually all three of the ones I listed, I only know them from their acting career. I didn't know them when they were actually wrestling. It's just kind of funny. Hogan, I remember from what is that TV series that he used to have? I don't know, the Bounty Hunter or something like that.
Let's see. I'm
Dog
honestly
the
not.
Bounty Hunter, something like that.
So he's in. Unfortunately, look at his movies. It also shows like all the wrestling documentaries he was a part of, like interviewed in. He's in. So he was in. Oh yeah, he was in Rocky 3. I always forget he was in Rocky 3. Why is the very first thing you look up for his movies Hulk Hogan's sex tape?
Yeah.
Like that's the top thing. Like before Rocky, before Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando, No Holds Barred, Thunder in Paradise.
Oh
Like all
my
those other
god.
movies. The very first thing, like when you Hulk Hogan hit movies, that's the very first suggestion.
Hulk Hogan was in Gremlins too.
Yeah, Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. That movie fucking sucked. Uh, Santa with Muscles. I have not seen that, but I love that name. Spy Hard.
I heard. Okay, so no, it was not Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't know why I was thinking he was a bounty hunter. It was Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah, he's in that one.
Which was
Oh,
apparently only for one season.
another one that you probably didn't even know was a wrestler. Dave Bautista, the guy that plays Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy,
he
was a
was.
wrestler. But yeah, he'd probably just look up like wrestlers who were in movies, just plug them in. But yeah, I guess point being, next week will be I'll be the one with the more common level of knowledge, like the more was that the public knows, whereas yours will be the more knowledgeable, in-depth picks.
Yeah. I
But
can't wait.
I feel like this is gonna be a. I feel like either you're gonna win, or we'll both have a ton of points. Like I don't know if yours is gonna have like totally obscure gods that like I wouldn't have even thought of, or like I'll have a ton of 1.1s just from the, just being gods that I put on. Like for you, I'm gonna be honest, mine are gonna be all guesses, completely.
Part of me wants to narrow it down to the 12 main. But
Well,
part of me also
I don't know who the main ones are. Like, so if there's only 12, I probably know more than 12, but I don't know like a ton in depth, I guess. But we'll just see what happens. I feel it'll give you the chance to win another one, I bet, but it'll be an interesting episode. It'll be very different from what we've done before. But we should probably cap this episode off. We're already at an hour 44 minutes almost. Thank you guys for listening. You can catch me as AquaLeaderJesse on YouTube. You can catch her as Fairy Fox Gaming on Twitch. And if you enjoyed, please, we would really appreciate it if you left a positive rating or a like, depending on what you're watching this on or listening to it. And then share it around if you know anybody else you think would enjoy this. This endless suffering we provide you for free. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. We'll have to hold on to our tie idea for another week. Bye bye. So close.
Bye.